So it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, and I genuinely don't know why I'm making this video, right? I just had a random thought. Nothing in life actually matters. I don't mean it in a depressing kind of way that, oh, nothing matters, I should kill myself. But no, yeah, I do not mean it like that. I mean, nothing that has happened in your life already, nothing that is around you right now also will not matter when you are dead, right? You're gonna die one day. Everybody's gonna die. I'm gonna die. You're gonna die. Everybody's gonna die, right? But the thing is, this doesn't mean that life doesn't have a purpose, right? Life has a purpose. Life's purpose is what we deem it to be. What our mind deem it to be is life's purpose. And for me, life's purpose is experiencing things, right? That's life. Experiences this mortal world, right? We have been born here on this planet Earth as a human being, which has like 1 in a 400 trillion chance, just so we could experience this life. And what I believe is these experiences which grow us as a person spiritually, physically, mentally, are what is important for our soul after death. Now I do not know what actually happens after that. This is just my theory, or like a lot of people's theory. Like a lot of people say that, but this is what I've deduced from everything. Now, why am I telling you this, right? Why am I telling you this? The only reason I am telling you this is because you care too much, right? It's not that deep. Life is not supposed to be that deep. Like what? So what? So what? Someone left you. So what? That's something you were working hard on failed. So what happened? It doesn't matter. You failed, just take it as an experience. That's the thing. You experienced something, you grew from it, you got a lesson from it, and you cannot change the past. The only thing you can change is the future, and the only moment you can live actually is the present, because you do not know what will happen in the future. Next second, you might be dead. Next second, something big might happen in your life. You have to think that present is the only thing that we should care about. What's around us, be aware of that. I don't mean you should just stop working, right? Your mind, it has given you a purpose. Let's say a lot of people do not have any purpose, right? And they are looking for one, they feel lost and shit. But it's simple, just experience life. Just find the one thing that makes you happy, that makes you fulfilled, that makes you feel joy and bliss. Joy and bliss are high frequency emotions. So do that one thing. Enjoy the process because the end result isn't gonna matter either way. We're gonna be dead, and all of this is gonna be someone else's, right? Just enjoy what you're doing, enjoy the process. Now, you shouldn't care too much about anything that actually happens now. Like, at this point, you might feel I'm just yapping about shit, but you have made it to this point, so I just might be onto something, right? Now, think about it. Why do all these people like on the internet, gurus, manifestation coaches, and all those people, they say that detach from everything and you'll get it. The more you want it, the less you'll get it. The more you chase something, the less it will come to you, right? They say this without actually explaining what this means. Detachment. How do you detach? How do you even detach when you're human? You have so many emotions, right? Like you're bound to feel sad, happy, and shit. Or like if something big happens in your life. You're human, you'll have, of course experience that. The thing is, you have to think of it that way that This I had this experience. I felt this emotion. You have to be aware of that moment. Right? Detach, you need to control your mind first. Because your mind is the cause of all your suffering. If your mind gains control over your spiritual self, there let me explain it to you easier. Like there are three planes: the physical world, the mental world, and the spiritual world. Now to live a good life as a good life, right? You get what I mean. So to live a good life, that spiritual self has to control your mental self. And this mental self is what controls our body. Now, if this self starts growing and it becomes bigger than our spiritual self, that's when suffering starts because our spiritual self is then basically blocked. It doesn't influence us anymore. So, suffering starts from here. If we do not have control over this, we suffer because everything is clouded with emotions, and everything is clouded with emotions, and those emotions do not let you see life as it is to be seen. Now, if you live in the present, as they say, or if you become pure awareness, if you stop caring so much about these things, if you live everything as an experience, if you focus on what is in front of you right now, what like I've got this talcum powder, deo talc, right? So instead of seeing this as a deo talc, I'm seeing this as nothing. I'm just looking at it without thinking in my mind that this is a talcum powder bottle or something. To make it simpler, just look at your hand. Do not look at your hand and think it is your hand. Just look at it and see it without labeling it as anything. You stop labeling things and start only experiencing them. That's when you become aware. This will all make sense in a bit. And when you become aware, right? You become pure awareness, you gain control over your mind because now you have become an observer who's observing things that are present right now. You are not living in some imaginary world in your mind or anything. So you start observing your mind too, and you start seeing your thoughts, you start seeing what all comes, and soon enough you gain control over them in some way. And when that happens, when you gain control over your mind, when you are able to control your thoughts for a bit, when you are able to shut them off at will, when you are able to just be in the present moment, that time your spiritual self is liberated, and in that spiritual self now starts controlling your mental self. And that just releases all your suffering. Now, that is one hard task to do, of course. But an easy way to go about is to just think that nothing really matters what I'm doing. All things that I'm doing is to experience a certain something, right? In the material world. Now, detachment doesn't actually mean that you detach from everything in this physical realm too. Means being spiritually detached from the materialistic things that are present around us, but not physically detached. Our mental self and our physical self are the ones that are attached. We cannot fix that. Right? Yeah, of course, we are only attached to some things. We do not care about some things either, but we cannot be just detached from everything. But on a spiritual level, we can easily be detached from everything when we realize that we are nothing but our souls, and we are going to leave all of this behind. So to actually detach and actually detach in a way that favors you, that helps you experience life, that experiencing of life is your whole purpose, and that helps you fulfill that purpose is by thinking that I am here to just taking care of these things. Like this is mine today. Tomorrow this might get recycled into something and this will be someone else's. So we are taking care of these things and we are just on this planet to experience whatever there is, right? Why, like, and you know, one of the things that happen is that people care a lot about too much people, like people care a lot about what other people have to say uh, about your journey, right? About your journey, about what you're doing, about what you're trying to experience, about what you're trying to build in this physical world. Other people have to question about it. They always have this itch to hate, right? Who gives a shit about what they think? Let me give you an example. When I was fat, right? When I was a fat kid, and 2 years, 3 years ago, you would see me. I was fat as hell. So I was bullied. I guess I was made fun of and shit. So I just decided to cut, and I cut, and I just like I got into this gym and all that stuff, looks maxing and shit. And yeah, then got jacked, I guess. Got a six pack and shit, right? And I started looking good. I started walking more confidently. I started being more confident. I started changing my personality, right? I changed my whole self. I had a huge glow up basically. Those same people found another reason to hate that I didn't even think they could find. They said that you have started looking like a bouncer. Excuse me? Like, imagine the audacity. You look at I look at myself right now and I think, damn, I've improved so much. But those people who hated on me when I was fat and even when I got jacked, they're still hating on me. That just goes on to prove that they just want to hate, they just want to talk shit about you because they are jealous they couldn't accomplish what you have accomplished as a person in this physical world. And and their minds weren't strong enough, their mental self wasn't strong enough to improve their physical world. Improve as in grow in their physical world and to grow spiritually too. And they are jealous, so they hate. Hating, hate is a very low frequency emotion in this world. And yeah, so now another thing is that I'm really handsome, I look at myself in the camera and I just yap and I'm just looking at myself. Sorry, my bad. Now let's talk about how to get over some past experience. Yeah, how to actually detach from it. Like, just think about it. Just think about a recent or a very or an traumatic experience you had when you were a kid or you're growing up and shit, right? Or a recent one. And think, why do you find that experience traumatic? Let's say you got molested. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. I don't know why I laughed and smiled, but yeah. Let's say you got molested and shit, right? So most people, when something like that happens with them, they actually get into the state of depression because they cannot accept that that happened to them and they make it their whole identity. But you know that what happened to you was an experience. It was an experience and it doesn't define who you were. It was an experience in your 3D reality, and your 3D reality is just an illusion that your mental reality controls, and which is again controlled by your spiritual self, right? So you have to look at it that way. Life's all about perspective. The minute you change your perspective, the minute everything around you changes. You start looking at things differently, you start feeling different. So yeah, that is one way you get over past experiences. And I genuinely had a lot of things to say when I started recording, but now I'm just blank. Let me think for a second. Yeah, I guess my last advice to you would be to love yourself. Don't hate your 3D world. The world. Do not hate your 3D circumstances. Don't let what is outside affect your mental self and your spiritual self. The physical reality is just a projection of your mind, which is again a projection of your spiritual self. Unless you get let your mind take over your spiritual self too. So the more you connect with your spiritual self, how do you, yeah. Now that is one question, yeah. How do you connect with your spiritual self? Best way is, of course, the simplest, the easiest, and the most popular way is just meditate. But like, how do you do that? The first thing to do would be to get aware, to get in the present moment. How do you get aware? You just know you're aware. You don't say that I have to do this to be aware. You just say, I'm aware. You just look at everything. Be present. Second thing, meditate. And when you meditate, you need to relax. You need to relax, you need to slow down your body or vibrations, you need to slow down because frequency spectrum is very weird, or let's say unique. Let's say this is zero frequency, zeroth frequency. This is your infinite frequency, let's say. So most people, what they try to do to increase their spiritual self, not their physical self, they try to increase their frequency, right? Increase their frequency. Now you have increased your frequency and you are here, but this is infinity. You cannot reach infinity. You cannot reach infinite frequency. You're only human. You are in a physical world. Now you're here. What do I do now? You're like, what do I do? You are excelling in your physical world. At this point, you're excelling in your physical world by a lot. That's for sure. But at this point, many people let their emotions, their mental self, they can cover up their spiritual self. Now, how do you get into that spiritual self? Yes, in your day-to-day life, you have to be at this frequency if you want to experience things that you want to experience, and if you want to excel in your 3D. But to actually grow your spiritual self, you need to bring it down, down, down. Because on the other side of this is negative infinity, but frequency cannot be negative, so it's just infinity. And infinity is what? Infinity, zero. When you're let me rephrase it. When you are at the zeroth frequency, you're not vibrating, which means you're dead. You're dead physically, not mentally, because you have come to that frequency, not in that death kind of way. So in that zeroth frequency, you become closer to God, because God is infinite. And on the other side of zero, there's infinity. And you have to realize the more you get closer to the zero, the more closer you get to God. Because the less your you start existing less at this frequency, right? You start getting dead at this frequency. You're getting near death, the zeroth frequency, where you are nothing. but you're everything because that is also God. God is beside us. God is just beside us. So the more you get closer to God, the less there is of you. And the more there is of God, the more there is of your spiritual self, because in reality you are God, but not in that way you imagine. You are God. Because your soul is just your soul, that energy has total control over the physical reality. I don't know why I have this right now, but yeah. So you have to realize the more you get closer to God, the less there is of you, and the less there is of you, the more there is of God, the more there is of your spiritual self. Because your spiritual self, your soul, is basically God. It is the creative energy. That's why these gurus, these coaches, they say that you have to tap into your creative power. They just mean you need to be in touch with your spiritual self, your souls. That will also help you dominate the 3D reality, because again, this is just an illusion. This illusion is controlled by your mental self. Your mental self is controlled by bingo, your spiritual self. So that's one thing. I yap a lot, you know. I really yap a lot. Shit, this is 21 minute long. Oh my god. I yapped a lot. Yeah. Anything else? Let me remember. Let me. It's coming to me. Yeah, that is. This is it for a video. If I remember anything else, that will be for the next video. So goodbye. Subscribe. You know, love yourself. You're the goat. You're the best. Tell yourself that, and I love you, G. I love myself too. Subscribe to the channel, or else I'll find you. And you know what I'll do when I find you? I'll tickle you. Okay.